It's not easy starting an industry in this day and age. Thankfully, Blackwood Forest has been logging for centuries already. Decades ago, the very trees chopped here were used to build the ships of the British Navy. Although we moved on from wooden military ships, Blackwood Forest still supplies wood for the majority of the region. How does it last so long? Surely they would have run out of trees by now. Well, Lord Blackwood thought about sustainable before the governments were shouting, "Ooh, sustainable!" For years before his disappearance, he made a strict rule. For every tree chopped, 5 must be planted to replace it. That's why the Blackwood Forest is still in use today. Enough of the history, let's build our forestry industry. So welcome back, wonderful Nebman Club. You are legends for watching my videos, and this is another one of our Kingsmere UK build. And you might recognise this if you were in the previous video. This is the back of Blackwood, the town. This is obviously Blackwood Manor, where Lord Blackwood used to live before he disappeared on that fateful night. And you might notice a couple of changes, nothing too drastic, but just a few different things. In the last video, we worked on this kind of old industrial area, which I absolutely adore. I think it looks fantastic. I think we've really kind of fit the theme with this one, looking really good. It looks relatively busy as well, which is fantastic. And then we've obviously got our cargo transfer station here, which is really good for the railway line. We can see a train coming in there on the sunken railway route, which is fantastic. But you will notice there's been a slight expansion. We've got rid of the cargo railway yard, or not the cargo, just the railway yard where all the trains come out of, and we've replaced it with an extra track for our cargo hub, as you can see, which makes it look rather large. And then we've just extended the town slightly over the river, added an extra little just a very small passenger railway station here on the edge, which is great. And then over here we had a suggestion in the comments of the last video, add a thick layer of trees by the railway line, which we have done. Helps kind of hide the dirty industry from those people living there. And then there's another suggestion of adding a kind of petrol station on the way out here, which we've kind of done, filled in a little bit of gaps. It's nothing too crazy, just your standard little railway centre. Railway centre? Petrol fueling station. With Royal Mail there, of course. So when you're coming out of the port, you can quickly drop in there, fuel up before you go on your big journey. And then you'll just notice there's been a few tweaks to the roundabout just to decorate it ever so slightly to make it look a little bit nicer. But yeah, looking pretty good around here. It's looking a little bit busy, which I quite like. I quite like the industrial vibes. Looks really cool. But in today's video, we're working on forestry, which is going to be in this section here, where all the trees are, unsurprisingly. This is going to be our forestry industry. It is a very old industry. It's been around for years and years, but we are going to build it today, and imagine that it's been there forever. So yeah, really exciting, good stuff. I've not really messed around with specialised industries too much in this build, and to be honest at all, so I might get it wrong. If I do get something wrong, just shout at me in the comments and I'll look to fix it. But let's dive right in. Well, actually, the first thing we need to do is get rid of all the trees, funnily enough. Make it make sense. So the reason that I'm getting rid of the trees is I think a lot of these have disabled tree growth activated, which means that they potentially won't actually grow and won't be able to be used for our forestry industry. So what we're going to do is you're just going to kind of start off with a blank canvas. And remember, with every tree that we destroy here, we'll replace it 5 times over. It's going to be a lot of trees here, man, a lot of trees. But I'm just going to pick up most of these for now, and then we'll kind of start with a fresh canvas. It's quite nice with the terrain as well, I quite like it. Looking quite nice and bare there. And we'll just pick up a few of these ones as well. I'm not sure if we're going to branch all the way around here, but it's worth just clearing out for the time being. And then we can always replace those trees should we not need to use them. So there are a few things that we kind of want to go here. in the Blackwood forest. The main things are obviously the forestry industry. So over here we want the forestry, which we can place the buildings down here, and then they'll kind of go out and collect, hopefully. Maybe not. There is a in the not this one, but it is this one. We've got the parcel board factory, which is good for wood. There is this paper factory, but I think, in my opinion, it is too large for this specific section. I don't think it really fits the theme too much, unless we were to put it out of the way. But I don't think having this massive factory right within the forestry industry will fit the theme. Maybe we can think about putting it out over here, because then our wood people have more places to sell their stuff. But first things first, I think we're actually going to go with the parcel board factory, and where we're going to place it is just over here, nearby to the entrance, just kind of around, I'm going to say probably a little bit closer to there is probably alright, because we're going to kind of close off this entrance anyway. And that's just a simple factory, nothing too crazy. And we're going to slap that upgrade on there, because this takes in wood, it kicks out timber, which is really helpful. And that's basically the first building that we need, which is great. Now, for the majority of this area, we're going to be using dirt roads, because I do feel as if dirt roads around the kind of forest area will probably fit the theme the best. Granted that we have this quite large entrance road here, I think this will probably be a reasonable, make some sort of reasonable connection to here. Nothing too crazy, it's not going to be that busy, and then we'll start building the forestry industry around that, and hopefully make it look cool. But to begin with, I don't think we want to go too mental. We just kind of want to slap that in there, and we might have this just kind of curve round ever so slightly, because we might end up wanting to run this dirt road around the edge. Not sure just yet, because as you can see the terrain is quite treacherous over there, but we could consider that in the future. Cool, so we're going to have a few roads. We're going to put surfaces over the roads to make them look even more dirty, but what we're going to do is we're probably going to start by mapping out our actual actual forestry industries in certain areas, and then we'll kind of work probably some roads around that at some point. So let's start off with that. Helpful if we had the contour lines on, wouldn't it? Because we don't want too much trouble here. So let's just think. Obviously a single one can actually take up a whole area, but I kind of would prefer a few smaller ones. I think that's kind of the vibe that I would prefer to have. So we'll have this extend out, and I'm just thinking if I could get maybe one up the hill as well and have it on sort of like a bit of an incline, potentially something up here would be quite cool. So maybe if we just attempt our very best at drawing a sort of inclined road up the hill. It might not work, but we can give it a go. I'm going to struggle with this. But this was the vibe that I kind of wanted to go for. As you can see, it kind of gradually works its way up those contour lines, and gradually makes it up the hill, which is great, which means that we could, on the flatter sections, we could probably fit in another small sort of farm or two. So the theory would be have like one here, which would mine or chop this section. This section will have one maybe branching off up here, chopping sections up there, another one up there. It's nothing too crazy, but we just kind of see what we can muster up, if you know what I mean. We'll do our very, very best to make this look okay. My secondary thoughts are down in this more flat section, we could probably use this for more kind of storage, warehouses, some bigger kind of buildings that you potentially wouldn't have all the way up in the actual collection sort of areas. So that's kind of my idea of why we've got this flat area with a bit more simpler roads, is to kind of get that sort of idea down. I'm tempted to potentially wrap another road just up to this section, which is a little bit flatter. So have one going up here and then a road kind of drifting up this sort of hill, if we are able. Just wrap it up and around, and hopefully we'll be able to incline that just enough that we'll be able to fit one more potentially little industry following those contour lines just at the top here, maybe pushing out back there. That could work, but you never know. Yeah, these things are subject to change. I'm just kind of brainstorming a few general ideas, and then we'll kind of go from there and just hope for the best, really. That's what I normally do, just hope for the best. So I'm going to start placing down a few various different kind of logging sections, and I'm going to kind of just stencil out their rough areas. I'm not going to go too crazy, but I'm just going to kind of put out their rough areas that they're going to handle, which will kind of just be simple enough about where they are. We're not going to go too off course. It's just going to be wherever they land is going to be the area they kind of cover. So for example, this one will cover all the way up there. Obviously it won't work because it's got no wood there at the moment, but you kind of get the gist of things at the kind of idea that we're going with. This one will probably just have one here, and what we'll do is we'll probably have this one nice and tucked up, probably drift it slightly within this road section here all the way up to the top, and we'll just take that all the way around, and it's going to own basically this massive middle section. So this is going to be quite a big sort of area for this chap. This is going to be Mr. Money Maker, hopefully, and you can literally own all of that just for yourself, which is great. Fantastic. And then we'll have this little one slapped in the middle here, who can take basically just a chunk of this hill. Nothing too crazy because it does get quite steep up here for the extractors. So we'll probably just run it around this sort of contour line here, and then probably drop that one back in there. We'll have this chap here who is going to use up basically all of this section. It's basically his neighbour, so we're just going to have him wrapping around this contour line. We're not trying too hard because it doesn't matter that much. We'll just kind of eat them up all together and then put that in there, which is good. So that's 4, and then we wanted one kind of along here, which will neighbour up with this fella and this fella, in fact. And we're going to run this one all along this contour line, and we're going to have it going pretty much all the way back over here, and we're going to run it right along this small river section, because this is going to be another quite large one, because if we've got the space we might as well use it. Let's just have a look. Seems okay. Is it worth us filling the sections in to just cover off all of the area? It might be. It might be. Maybe we can consider that. Let's consider that. Okay, so we've got our areas, and the next thing we need is trees. And the reason that I have replaced or got rid of them is because I need to change this off. We want them to be harvest, otherwise it won't work simply. And we want to kind of have different trees for different farms. So for example, the first one I want to use the tree line tool and basically just have it kind of like this, and make it look a bit like an actual kind of tree farm. I think I might. No, I can't do that. Scrap that idea. But I'm just going to basically place them down in some sort of a row, so they kind of look like they're not there naturally. They're just kind of there where we've placed them over time. We'll have them in varying heights, just not scattered around. Varying ages, not varying height is what I really meant. And hopefully this will make it look a bit more like a tree farm, if you know what I mean. It's going to be a bit of a process doing all of this, but I think hopefully it will be worth it in the end once we have established this properly and make it look quite cool. It's already looking better with the trees there, to be honest with you. Already looking that little bit better. So we'll just kind of continue with that idea all the way up. I might spread them out slightly because they are quite close together. And we'll just fill this farm in first, and then we'll move on to the other ones, hopefully. Okay, that's the first one done. It looks pretty busy in there with trees. Only 7.84 tons worth, or oh, right, it's going up. It's going up. It's fine, and it's working, which is great. So we're going to do that same sort of thing, but with all these. Potentially shake the trees up, pick a few different ones, maybe like some oak trees and stuff like that for certain ones. So yeah, we're going to do that with these ones too, and hopefully our tree farm will start to look quite tree farmy. Well, the trees are certainly very dense, but the fact that they're kind of a variation makes it look quite cool. It does sort of seem like, oh, it's just upgraded, how exciting. It does make it seem like they are kind of one big industry. I'm tempted to draw this road out and then hook it up to a connection here so that it kind of looks like one sort of area, because at the minute it just kind of ends, which is a bit bizarre. So I think we're going to try and just do our best to hook it round. I don't think that's going to be too horrendous. I think that should be alright. Yeah, that's not too steep. So yeah, we'll do that, and then maybe we'll add like a small little one, or we'll just extend this one out. I think we'll add a small, really small one, just in this little corner here, like a tiny titchy one, just for this space, and maybe add some smaller trees or similar. I think that'll probably work. There we go, a little bit of space, and then we'll find some very small trees. Maybe just use some pine trees. It's not really, or older. I think we've done older already, haven't we? Maybe apple trees. Let's do apple trees. Apple trees are fun. And we'll just basically make this a small little apple tree section, which is good. I'm not sure anybody would use apple trees for logging, to be honest with you. But luckily for us, this is not real life, so we don't care. We pick a tree, and the tree will tree. So that's kind of what we're going with. And we're just going to fill in this section, which is what we've already done with all the others, which is great. And then we'll have a little look to see what other adjustments we think is appropriate. Like that. And then maybe just add that there, and then put a couple more in here. Straight ones are so much easier, you don't have to double click at the end. But hopefully this should start giving us a lot of woods, to be honest with you. So it looks like quite a bit. That's 29 tons already. Production 143 tons a month, which is great. It looks really busy at the minute. Obviously it needs a bit of love here and there, I would suggest, but production wise, it certainly works at the moment. And it's quite a nice sort of layout, and I love the way that it kind of branches up the hill slightly and it's not completely flat. But obviously we got a lot of work to do in this area, which we kind of need to start working on. I'm debating whether we branch this one out a little bit more. I don't know. I can't cope with the pressure. So the next thing that I'm doing is I'm just adding these dirt net lanes over our dirt roads to just make them more, I don't know, dirty? Is that the right thing to say? I don't really know. So I'm just going to do that. Just adds that extra little bit of detail, just to make it look a little bit nicer and more realistic. Because although these are dirt roads underneath, there's not really much dirt on them, to be honest with you. Not much dirt at all. So we'll try our very best to make them dirty, is what we say. Which can be a pain sometimes, to be honest with you. It doesn't always go to plan. But yeah, I'm going to do that with these roads and I'll show you how it looks afterwards. Hopefully it looks fabulous. I mean, it's far from perfect, but it's certainly better than it was. So we'll take that, we'll accept that. We've just done that with all of the roads here. Some of it's a little bit clunky, some of it's not, but it does look better than just a standard road. So we'll accept it. The next thing that we're doing is we've got this kind of really dirty decal sort of area. I don't know whether I like it yet or not, but I might use this as kind of another storage section for loads of logs and stuff like that. So if we were to type in logs or wood or whatever it is that would make it come up, they're logs, and we just kind of pile up all of the logs. I mean, there's not really much more I can do to explain it, to be honest with you. Logs are logs, and logs will go on here, essentially. Just as kind of another sort of storage area for our big logs. I'll stop talking about my big logs in a minute, and we'll just continue with what we're doing. But this just kind of, to me, makes a little bit more sense to have it in this sort of area because it's quite close to the entrance. It just kind of makes sense to put it all nearby so that people can come and collect my big logs. But just something like that, and then we fence around it. Again, nothing too crazy, but we'll just pick out like the industrial fence around here and essentially just run it around the outside and hope that it looks nice, is what we normally do, isn't it? So we'll just fence off some of that all the way to main road here, bring that hopefully around to the edge, and we'll probably go to about here, leave a little gap, go to about here, leave a little gap, and then go to about here. But we won't leave a little gap, just link that back up to here. And that looks a little bit better fenced off. There's really not much to it. I can't express enough that they are literally just some logs. I don't know what else to put in there. Just logs, man, just logs. Let me log. I might put like a little... Do we have a cabin? Like a little security cabin or something like that in there. We got a play cabin, not quite what we're after. But I'm just looking for like a little, you know what I'm after, like a little security hut. I guess it's just going to have to be the old-fashioned parking booth again, isn't it? Really? Yeah, probably like that. Just your old boy sitting in there. He's been working there for 45 years and he makes just enough to survive. He's got his own little smoking area in the corner, which means he doesn't set fire to the logs. He's living the dream. And if you say that he's not living the dream, you don't know what living the dream is. We'll just put like a few boxes and stuff around here. And hopefully we need a name for our security man that works here and has worked here for his whole life and has no intention to retire. You know the type of bloke that we're on about, don't you? We've all seen him in the films. We've all seen him in the movies. We know what he looks like and how he behaves. He's just your old geezer, just happy as Larry. I don't know why you'd have barrels here, but we're filling in the space. But that's just a nice little section there. Nothing too crazy. We might be able to park a little, like a little forklift or log carrier or something like that. If they're in this section, they might not be. Don't think they are. I think they're in the actual find it's, which is fine. We can find it. But you can fit a heavy with, so that's steel pipe. That looks like logs. Where's the logs then? Telling me that we don't have a log one. How bizarre. How bizarre. Yeah, look, they're all steel beams. I mean, there's some haystacks, which is great, but that's not really what we're after. We'll put a log loader in. That would make sense, wouldn't it? We'll have a log loader where all the logs are. It's almost like I thought about this in advance. I didn't, is a lie. And then we'll put a log lorry trailer just in there as well. And it's quite it's just a nice little addition. It's nothing too wild. It's just logs on some old concrete that's weared down with geezer in his hut and a log loader. But it just adds a bit of difference to it, doesn't it? Nothing too mental. It just does the job. Around here I might add potentially another kind of log area just to fill in a bit of the gaps so we can tree around it. We'll just fill in that space a bit. Nothing too wild, just kind of make it feel a little bit more somewhat alive as such. Okay, we've made a decent amount of progress, as you can probably notice. So we've added this section down here with, again, more logs, more log mover things, a few empty trailers ready to get lifted with all the logs, autosave. And then we've obviously got the factory here, and then over here we've got 4 warehouses. Unknown on the actual function of these, but they kind of fit the sort of theme here, so that's fine. A few more props linked to the forestry industry, and then more logs. But you kind of get the idea. If I'm missing something from forestry wise that I could be placing that I'm not, please let me know in the comments, because I feel like there's a lot of repetition when you're trying to fill a relatively sizable area just for one industry. But it certainly fits the part. It looks quite cool. What I might do, because we're kind of lacking in anything else, is add a few more extractors and just place them in, like maybe one here, backing out this way, that will collect the trees from all of that section maybe. I think that could potentially work. Just kind of fill in those areas where we can. But I think it looks quite nice. There's nothing about it that I don't like at the moment, so we will just kind of go with the flow, to be honest, unless I just have this one in this section here, and then we'll have another one going alongside the riviere, aka the river. So that can be a little one, and then maybe we'll just have this tiny teeny one, maybe here? No, maybe here. And he can own essentially all of this strip alongside the riverbank, which I think is reasonable and could work. We just got to try and make it. I'm not that precious about the zone because it doesn't actually matter too much. So we'll just run this one along the whole river. Come on, get in there. There we go. You can have those trees as well. Good. Looks a bit more forestry. Forestry. And then we just need to put a few more different types of trees in there. And I think it makes sense to have more forestry because of the size of this sort of area. We need to use it as such. So it makes sense to me to place a few more. And I have an obsession with filling in the gaps, so we kind of just, it is what it is. So what trees? Maybe chestnut trees will be nice and pleasant for us. Maybe some chestnut trees down here. Will probably be okay. So yeah, same sort of idea. We're just making it literally look like it's a tree farm rather than an actual forest. Varying heights, ages, etc. Making sure that tree growth is off so that it actually works, because if it doesn't work, then what is the point? I don't know whether this is going to boost our economy or not, but there's only one way to really find out, isn't there? So we'll keep at it and hope for the best. And that's that one done. We'll just zoom out and see. Yeah, it's fine. It's not too bad. I'm just thinking, what should the last one be? Maybe, I mean, the pine makes the most sense for this sort of industry. Do we have too much pine? I feel like we should switch it up. Maybe have those. What, remind me what these were? Alders. We'll go with alders. And we'll use our alders and whack them right along the river's edge. Like that. Somebody will have to educate me on trees and what trees are actually used for like industry and what aren't, because quite frankly I've got no idea. But here we are. Thankfully it's a game, so we can just kind of do as we please, and they all still work, which is fantastic for us. This one's looking a bit wonky, you know, like a little bit meh. So that's going that way now. Do we want to try and curve that? Should we try and curve it around the road? Just to make our life slightly more difficult. Yeah. Yeah, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. Always remember that. Let's go. We'll see what this looks like once we're done. It might look alright, it might not. We'll just place that one in there. And let's have a little look. I think that's fine, to be honest. It looks very forestry. Forestry. And I feel like this section should be more wooden planks, to be honest with you. Or wooden logs. I don't think it should be trees. I think just this section maybe up to about here could be, yeah. I think that makes sense. I think that's reasonable. So if we start off with our riverbed surface, if we can find it, riverbed thick, and we just fill in this section. The beauty about the riverbed is that you can place it slightly out over the roads and it won't affect them like that. It just fills in the gaps that you kind of need, which is fantastic. I'm actually going to bring it all the way out because I can't make a decision. So here we are. We'll bring it all the way out to there. We might even cover off all of that. It doesn't look like it's actually done anything. But then we'll kind of fill in this gap here with a bit more logs and stuff like that. Maybe we'll place a little concrete section down from our decals. Somewhere like this for a few lorries or something like that to be parked up and waiting. I think that's probably fair. So if we can try our best to do that, that'll be grand. Maybe to about here. This can be kind of the lorry park section if it wants to cover in the gaps. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. A little bit fiddly. That can be a lorry park section where all the lorries are waiting, and then this can be where all the wood is. So let's go with the lorries first. We're basically just going to grab a bunch of trailers, and then we're going to grab a bunch of tractor units. We're going to just put various different types. We're not going to go absolutely specific completely for forestry, but anything that kind of looks sort of industrial lorry wise, we're just going to place down because you never know, it could be for the construction of buildings around here. It doesn't just have to be logs and logs and logs, as we've kind of realised, because there are so many logs here. A little one of those. That's oil. We don't really want oil. Farm equipment. Anything else which would be quite cool? Maybe just a few of these ones. So maybe a couple of those. Add a couple cement mixers into the mix. Pardon the pun. We need plenty of fuel for our trucks. And then we'll have a couple of container transport ones as well. All parked, ready and waiting. We'll add a few tractor units to some of the trailers. Not all of them, but some of them. Like that. We'll have to recolour tractor units because they're not random colours, which is a little bit annoying, but it's what it is. Up in there. Is that going to be big enough to pull? Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, be right. I think that's pretty reasonable. We'll just change a few of the colours of these. Nothing too crazy. Literally just drag them one way or another. And they will soon change their colours. We don't really want a bright green one though, I can tell you that much for free. We'll probably switch that one over again to another sort of greyish colour. Something pretty disgusting. And then we'll run a fence again around the back of this to just enclose it a little bit. Make it look a little bit more like it's meant to be there and wasn't just placed by a random part-time YouTuber. I was going to say a random YouTuber, but I'm not really a YouTuber. I just do this for fun, you know. I have an actual job as well. It'd be cool if I could do this full-time, but I don't think I'd be brave enough to quit my job because my mortgage would probably disagree. And then try and maybe drop that down into there. And we'll just pull that in there. And that one just into. We'll keep it pretty broad entrance. And we'll probably get a few like containers or something similar within here, or even stuff like this. Anything that you think would be picked up and loaded, we'll just kind of dump here and there. So like containers, like that. A couple containers out the back here as well. Maybe one there. Just adding a few things here and there just adds a little bit of difference, doesn't it? It just makes it look a little bit nicer. I say nicer. I'm not sure about nicer, but a little bit better. A bit of that, a bit of those, a couple of boxes and crates, and it almost looks like it's meant to be there. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. That looks quite... That's a good little addition. Very busy in there. Yeah, pretty cool. I quite like that entrance. I think that's cool. And then we're probably just going to have to log up all of these up the edge there. So let's go back to LOG and find the logs. I would say that that looks pretty good if you ask me. I'm happy with kind of how that's developed. Is this my first go at making kind of a login sort of industry, forestry industry on CS2? So let me know what you think, what your feedback is, because I am very intrigued to know. But it just is kind of a nice sort of basic forestry industry. Nothing too wild, just packed full of logs and trees and trucks. Sounds about right, huh? I've just added a few scatters of trees around the outside just so that it doesn't feel like the forest just kind of ends. But I think it looks pretty cool. I do like it. If we zoom out, doesn't look too bad. It doesn't stand out too much. It doesn't look really out of place. I think it looks quite nice. But yeah, if we go down to kind of a lower sort of level, seems about right, doesn't it? There's nothing horrendous about it. Nothing too wrong. Just looks loggy. Loggy, is that a word? But yeah, let me know what you think. Oh, well, I couldn't even find the road because the forest is so dense. But yeah, we've got the nice curvy road that goes up there. All is well. Nice. I would certainly like to have a little walk around here, although it'd be very dangerous. It looks really cool, especially from the top of the hill. It looks awesome. But yeah, let me know what you think. Hopefully you like it as much as I like it. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you. And yeah, I'll look forward to hopefully seeing you in the next one. Good night.